All right, a lot of stories coming out of the combine. The Colts want to have an open competition at quarterback with someone who's not on their roster right now. So they want to bring someone in and make Anthony Richardson compete. And I don't think
you see what Chris Ballard said?
I think so. What do you see?
That it doesn't have to necessarily be somebody that's stylistically the same. So it could just be a whole different player, which just the whole thing makes no sense.
You know, the thing about Richardson is like they've been pretty open about several things. Like his preparation wasn't really good enough. Chris Ballard, I think it was Chris Ballard, was saying he came into the NFL, didn't exactly realize the weight of the quarterback position. They're going to work on his mechanics. And I think there's been a mental side of it that Richardson hasn't mastered, just in terms of the preparation. So maybe that gives you some hope. It's not that he's such a bad player. It's that he has to prepare a little bit differently. Maybe.
I think according to the reports, he got the wake-up call when he got benched. He started, being first guy in the building, those type of things that you like to hear, and staying late, doing more, film study, all those things. But it's sad that it maybe took that situation to, bring that to light. Look, he's got a very small window to hopefully maximize his earning potential and prove that he belongs in this league. And, that this may be his final chance. Maybe final chance for Chris Ballard too. The other thing that came out of what he said was they want to add a running back and a tight end. Tight end makes a ton of sense. Give some life to that position because it's been lacking for a long time in Indianapolis. But running back is interesting. Do they go and add somebody and make this an annoying situation for Jonathan Taylor?
Are they trying to add somebody to complement Taylor, or do they?
I would think more of a backup role because you pay Taylor. He was an MVP candidate 3 years ago. Didn't do anything wrong to I think warrant coming off the field very much. But their backup situation probably hasn't been ideal for the last couple of years, especially when he's battled injuries. So that makes more sense. I just was reading a story out of Indianapolis, and that was one of the notes they put. They said Chris Ballard's other needs that he or whatever he said needs that he wants was tight end, running back, and then stuff on defense.
Yeah. Again, going back to what Heath said earlier about the running back class, it's very deep. There's a lot of good players at running back. You're going to see teams that already have an established running back get another one because they're going to look at their draft board when they're on the clock in round 3, 4, 5 and say, this is the best player. He can help us. Let's get him.
Jamie, I have a question. In our Dynasty League, Superflex, I've made this trade offer before, and you turned it down, I'm pretty sure. I think it was this. Would you maybe it wasn't this. Sorry. Would you take the third pick of round 2 for Anthony Richardson?
No.
He could be Justin Fields. He could be out of a job in half a year.
Yeah, but there's no win for me in that regard to take the second round, take a pick in round 2 for a quarterback that still has top 10 upside.
Okay, but this is the 15th pick. It's not like a terrible pick.
There's zero chance anybody should even entertain that offer. It's an awful Azer offer. It's terrible.
It is not terrible.
It is 100% terrible.
Now, if you were giving me something with that pick, then it's a different conversation.
You anything?
I wouldn't take 2 of that pick. I wouldn't take 3 of that pick.
Well, like if he's in that league, I'm a competing team. So if he's giving me, let's say, a veteran quarterback that's still starting, to consider the upside of, and I don't know who that guy would be, but it's not like a Stafford type of player, but he wouldn't trade me Baker, but you get the point. Like, somebody that's a mid tier, like Jared Goff and that pick for Richardson with the hope that Richardson turn things around.
I was gonna say in the trade chart, the closest guy is Sam Darnold.
Right. Like I'm not doing that.
So the first 5 picks of round 2 last year in our rookie draft, Superflex rookie draft, were Ricky Pearsall, Ladd McConkey, Trey Benson, Keon Coleman, and Michael Penix Jr. Okay, so that's the caliber of player you could be getting with the
There's a 20% chance you could get a better player.
Well, first of all, I think I would take. I don't know who. Anthony Richardson's trade value is pretty tough, but I think no way would I take Trey Benson or Keon Coleman. I would absolutely take Ladd McConkey. Yep. I think I'd definitely take Michael Penix over him. Would I take Ricky Pearsall over him? It's very possible.
I would not take Michael Penix over Anthony Richardson.
I wouldn't either.
Obviously, there's a gamble here. I mean, Anthony Richardson could be completely useless by this time next year.
So could Penix.
Penix? I don't know. They invested a first-round pick in him. They're going to just get away from him after one season?
Well, you're saying the same thing about the Colts after 2 seasons.
After 2 seasons, yes. And Richardson, no, but this would really be 3 seasons for Richardson compared to 1 for Penix. Penix 3 games. Well, I guess you said the same thing. Richardson got hurt in his rookie year. But Richardson's on thin ice. He's been horrible. He's been the worst quarterback in football, you could argue.
I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying, aside from the fact that you're making this as Penix is locked into being a guaranteed starter for 10 years when he's at the age that he's at with knee injuries.
Didn't say that. Much more secure than Richardson right now.
Right. One of those guys might not be starting in 2026.
One of those guys might not be starting in 2025.
One of those guys might not be starting in 2025. Fair.
Don't tell me it's a terrible trade offer. If you want to turn it down. That is not a terrible,
awful trade offer.
It's not. Dave, give me some support here, please.
No, if you're just liquidating Anthony Richardson, you don't want him on your team anymore. You would hope to get that type of pick in return. But I think somebody who doesn't necessarily need a quarterback, maybe does in a super flex, would happily give up a round 2 pick for Richardson, knowing what his upside is. Does it make you feel any better, Adam? His last 5 games when he came back from being benched, he averaged over 20 per game.
That's the thing. I know he's going to be a better fantasy quarterback than actual quarterback, but if he doesn't win enough games, if he turns the ball over, they're going to bench him. They're not going to say, well, he's scoring 24 fantasy points. They don't care. If he's completing 47% of his passes, he's done. So there's so much downside with Anthony Richardson.
I just think that, like, basically you're saying what could happen to Anthony Richardson is what did happen to Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Justin Fields' value is not 0 right now.
Is Justin Fields
way worse than the 15th overall pick?
Yeah, would you take Justin Fields for the 15th overall pick?
Well, he's already had the thing happen to him.
Yeah.
I think the 15th overall pick is definitely worth Richardson's floor. I agree. You're just not accounting for his ceiling.
Richardson's floor is worth a
fourth. No one's going to pay for the ceiling, though. That's the point.
No, I get it's a little bit of a low ball offer. I just don't think it's an awful trade offer. I don't even think you know what? I think it's a fair offer. And I think Justin Fields has been a better NFL quarterback than Anthony Richardson, pretty indisputably.
He's played like 13 and a half games.
That's another problem, isn't it? He can't stay healthy.